The Mazda MX-5 is a breath of fresh air, and not just because it's a convertible. You see, in recent years we've become accustomed to hot hatches and even 2-ton SUVs that can cover 0 to 62 miles an hour in less than 4 seconds. But the dinky MX-5, instead of focusing on outright speed, goes for pure driver excitement and aims to put a smile on your face with every journey. The MX-5 follows a tried and tested recipe. It's been out since 1989, has a cult following all over the world, and is now in its 4th generation. Rivals are few and far between. Sure, there are cheaper wind-in-your-hair alternatives, including the Fiat 500c and Citroën DS3 Cabrio, but it's really only the 4-seater Mini convertible and the Fiat 124 Spider that are true competitors, and the Fiat's based on the MX-5 anyway. So, does the latest MX-5 continue the car's much-loved legacy, or has the MX-5's winning streak finally ended? In this review, we'll tell you what it's like to drive and live with, and ultimately whether we think you should buy one. And if you are interested in buying one, go to the new car buying section at whatcar.com and find out how much money we could save you. It could be thousands. But first, let's take this dinky MX-5 out for a drive. If you feel bamboozled by engine choices in many cars, you can relax with the MX-5 because there are just 2 to choose from, a 1.5 litre and a 2 litre. They're both 4-cylinder and they're naturally aspirated as opposed to turbocharged, which does mean you have to explore the rev range to get the best out of them, but that's no bad thing with a sports car. Even the 1.5 litre, despite being relatively small, still feels plenty peppy. Our recommended engine choice is the 2 litre because it's got more mid-range power and it also doesn't run out of puff when you get to its top end. In fact, you'll find yourself getting close to the red line rather frequently because it's just so much fun to do so. There's 181 brake horsepower on offer, which is about the same as a fairly lowly hot hatch. However, it is plenty enough to have a lot of fun. Both engines come with a 6-speed manual gearbox which has fantastic snappy gear changes. If you'd like to go for an automatic, you can get this with the folding hardtop Mazda MX-5 RF. With the roof up, road and wind noise is acceptable for its class, although do expect it to get a little bit noisier when you get onto the motorway. As you can see with the roof down, it is not too blustery and it does give you an opportunity to listen to the engine, which does sound pretty good when you get it into high revs. The MX-5 features soft suspension, which means it's a surprisingly comfortable car over most road surfaces. It copes well over speed bumps and isn't too unsettled by awkward cambers either. Go for a Sport Nav Plus or GT Sport Nav Plus version and you get stiffer sport suspension for a more focused setup, but it's never uncomfortable. Handling is where the rear-wheel drive Mazda MX-5 really comes into its own. It also has well-weighted direct steering, so you can thread it from corner to corner with absolute confidence. In fact, compared with most front-wheel drive hot hatches, the MX-5 feels like a much more involving and playful car. Our only criticism, in fact, is that because of that soft suspension, the MX-5 can lean heavily into corners, but that's not something which will bother most people. Versions of the Fiat 124 Spider and Mini convertible may be slightly quicker, but neither are as entertaining as the Mazda. You sit low down inside the MX-5, which is no surprise given that it is a sports car. You can't adjust the driver's seat up and down, but you can tilt it. And the steering wheel adjusts for reach and rake, so you should be able to find a comfortable driving position. Unsurprising, given that it's a small car, all of the controls are within easy reach. We really like these chunky rotary dials for quick access to things such as the air conditioning settings. And you do get a marginally padded armrest here, and the dashboard is logically laid out. Entry-level cars miss out on this 7-inch colour touchscreen, so we'd suggest upgrading because it's really very good. It gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, as well as sat-nav, a DAB radio and Bluetooth connectivity. What's more, it can be controlled either by touch or by this rotary dial and shortcut buttons on the centre console. Mazda has really upped the ante with interior quality. There's an array of different textures, the buttons and switches feel nicely damped, the plastics don't feel cheap, and it feels overall well screwed together. But a mini convertible is still even more special. Now, in terms of visibility, you can see out of the front really well, and if you've got the roof up, that tiny rear window does hinder rear visibility, so we're cheating, we've got the roof down. And you don't get parking sensors as standard unless you go for the top 2 models, and a reversing camera is reserved for the GT Sports Nav Plus model. There's no getting away from the fact that this is a small car. You can even touch the door on the other side, and a 6-footer probably wouldn't even need to stretch. And no matter who your passenger is, you will be sitting in close proximity, so try and get on. In terms of storage, there's no glove box and no door bins. Banana storage is not possible here, although you could probably put a lipstick or your phone in there. There's a little bit of storage there and 2 cup holders, so it does score some practicality points. And there's no rear seats and very limited storage either. In fact, you'll struggle to fit a jumper behind this seat, even with me driving. The good news is that with the roof down, boot space is unaffected. The bad news is that it started off quite small. You've got a high load lip and small oval opening as well, so it's not hugely practical, but it's to be expected for its class. If you play golf, you may have to leave a passenger at home and put the golf clubs on the passenger seat. Aside from the more expensive Fiat 124 Spider, which itself is based on this car, there is no other 2-seater sports car in this price range. Even Toyota's GT86 is pricier, and it doesn't come with a soft top option. And the mini convertible is also more expensive, but at least you get 2 rear seats. It's lightweight with fuel-efficient engines, so the MX-5 won't cost you a lot to run either. Both the 1.5 and 2-litre petrol promise over 40 miles to the gallon, which we have experienced in real-world fuel tests. PCP finance costs are competitive too, with cheap monthly payments depending on how much deposit you can put down. Even entry-level SE Plus cars come with air conditioning, alloy wheels, 2 USB connectors and LED headlights. Still, we'd spend the extra cash to upgrade to SEL Nav Plus trim, which gets you a more comprehensive infotainment package, including sat-nav and smartphone connectivity. Sport Nav Plus models get more kit again, including automatic emergency braking, rear parking sensors and automatic lights and wipers, as well as stiffer suspension. It's certainly worth it if you value your equipment or fancy sharper handling. The MX-5 holds a 4-star safety rating from Euro NCAP, which isn't particularly impressive, but at least it matches its rivals. The Mazda MX-5 is a terrific 2-seater sports car. We love the outstanding ride and handling balance, and the performance is best suited to UK roads. Overall, we think it's one of the best convertibles on sale today. For plenty more on the Mazda MX-5, including our full online review, head to whatcar.com. And remember, you can check out its rivals and we can help save you some money on your next new car. Just go to our new car deals section. But before you do any of that, hit subscribe and catch all our videos.